Texas made a run to the college football playoff semifinals for the second consecutive year, and they had a number of players who really stepped up as the season went along. Texas lost all three of their starting wide receivers last year to the NFL, and they totally had to reload their roster, and they did that through the transfer portal. They brought in Isaiah Bond from Alabama. They brought in Silas Bolden, and they brought in Matthew Golden, who was arguably the most valuable Texas wide receiver as the season went on and has been flying up draft boards. In a pretty deep wide receiver class in the 2025 draft, how high could Golden be selected in this draft class? That is what we will be going over in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page, where for $5 a month, you guys will be given exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide and big board with over 500 prospects and scouting reports. There, you guys will find all sorts of tidbits on Senior Bowl performances, combine and pro day numbers, as well as player measurements. I highly recommend you guys checking it out if you enjoy my NFL draft content. Leave a comment on this video and let me know which prospects you guys would like to see in the future, and without further ado, let's take a closer look at Matthew Golden. Golden started his collegiate career at the University of Houston, where he saw some solid production for the Cougs. In 2023, Golden finished the year with 39 receptions for 419 yards and 6 touchdowns. His numbers were solid for a Houston team that was an absolute disaster, and in the offseason, he decided to transfer to Texas, where he put up the best numbers of his career. He finished with 58 receptions for 987 yards and 9 touchdowns, but he really came on in the back half of the season. 484 yards came in the final 5 games of the season, and he was huge in their win against Arizona State. He was awesome in the SEC championship game, and he's been generating some buzz as a potential first-round pick. The first thing that really pops off tape with Golden is his speed. He is incredibly explosive and has a top speed that is rumored to be in the 4.3s, and it shows up on his tape. He has a quick first step off the line of scrimmage and can absolutely fly. As a deep ball threat, he had the ability to blow by defenders, and he has some fantastic deep ball tracking ability, which I loved to see from him. He could be a legitimate deep ball threat in the NFL due to his speed and tracking of the ball in the air. As a route runner, I also really like what I see from Golden. He is incredibly shifty, he's very quick, and he knows how to sell his routes. He has fantastic footwork, and he has really good body control as well. He creates separation across the middle of the field, and I love his upside as a route runner. I also think that Golden shows some really dynamic abilities after the catch. At Houston, the Cougars used him a lot as a gadget player. They really wanted to get him involved on screens or get him the ball in the backfield, because when he's in space, he's very slippery and he has the ability to make guys miss. Texas didn't really tap into that as much in 2024, but that's a big part of Golden's game that I think is one of the most exciting parts about what he has to bring to the table. There are a couple of concerns I have when it comes to Matthew Golden's game. One of them is his play strength and physicality. Now, I will say, as the season went along with Texas, you really saw him do a better job of attacking the football in the air, making big-time plays, but throughout his career, that really hasn't been his game. He has a 47.2% contested catch rate, which is lower than I would like to see. You want to see him win those 50-50 balls, and he just hasn't done that consistently. I also think he shows some struggles in the blocking department. I don't think he's the strongest player in the world. Like I said, it got better as the year went on. In his last 5 games, he had a combined 6 contested grabs and was incredibly reliable against physicality, so I'm very curious to see how it translates to the next level. I also would like to see Golden add on some mass. He looks pretty slim for the position. He's listed at 6 foot, 195 pounds, but I think he's smaller than what he's listed at. He looks very wiry, and I would like to see him add on 10 pounds just to look a little bit bigger for the position, and I think it ultimately would help him in terms of the physicality of his game. Golden also has had some drop concerns throughout his career. In 3 seasons, Golden has 14 career drops. A lot of them are concentration drops. I think he needs to do a better job of making sure he's secured the catch before trying to make a play after. I like Matthew Golden, but I do have some concerns. He has speed, he knows how to separate, and is dynamic in space. But he's not the biggest guy, he has some issues with drops, and has had inconsistencies against physicality. I think he's good, but I want to push back on the narrative that he's a first-round receiver. I don't have a first-round grade on Matthew Golden. I think in the second round, you're absolutely golden. No pun intended, but I have him as my number 8 wide receiver in the class and my number 47 overall prospect. To me, Golden profiles best as the ideal number 2 receiver. I don't think he necessarily has the frame to be an X receiver, but I think with his speed and with his athleticism, he would be the perfect deep threat or Y receiver for an NFL team at the next level. My player comparison for Matthew Golden is Houston Texans wide receiver Stefon Diggs. Diggs has never been the biggest, nor has he been the most physical player in the world, but he is a fantastic deep threat, a solid route runner across the middle of the field, and is dynamic in space. I think Diggs is a solid player, and Golden has a lot of the same traits that has made Diggs such a valuable asset for 3 different NFL teams. Matthew Golden is surging. He has speed, he can win deep, and while I think he's being talked about a bit higher than I have him, the talent is certainly there. And ultimately, I believe that Matthew Golden will be a top 40 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.